Alright, so in today's video, we are going to style an already created HTML page we did in one of our previous videos, and we are going to use the CSS we've learned so far to style it. So let's get started. Okay, so in our previous videos, we've learned how to create an HTML web page, and in this video, I would like to style this nice looking HTML web page we see here. And we are going to implement the things that we've learned so far. So we are going to see some of the CSS styling. We are going to link using external CSS. We use inline CSS and also internal CSS. So let's get started. So before we start, at first we used to use the notepad to create our websites, but for today we are going to use VS Code, which is another text editor we can use to be writing our code. So let's see how to install VS Code. Okay, so first of all, you could type VS Code download. Then your very first link, you click it, and to bring it to this page. So since my machine is a Windows machine, I'll just click on this to download. So since I've downloaded mine already, I wouldn't download it, but depending on what your machine is, you can click on whichever. So this is for Windows, this for Ubuntu, Linux, and also this is for Mac OS. So depending on your machine, you just click and download. So once you download, you can follow the prompts and install easily. It's very simple. Once you are done, you can just open the VS Code. So let's get started with the VS Code. Okay, so I've opened my VS Code page, and this is a fresh VS Code page. So for now, what we need is to start a new file. So creating a new file, you just click on this and it creates a new file. But if you have your HTML file already, this is what you could do. So you just go to where your HTML file is located. So in my case, it's inside this folder. Well, if you followed along from the previous videos, you should have an HTML file already. So if you have it, locate it. Then here is where mine is. So it's an HTML file and an image. So I'll just right click on this and open with VS Code or Visual Studio Code. So this is my simple HTML code right here. Right. So if you didn't follow along, you could just go to File, New File, and you could type the name of your HTML file over here, .html. Then you could follow along, create your HTML file and follow along. But if you do have it, you could just continue right from there. So this is my simple HTML page, and let me show you its output. So this is what it outputs in the web page. Okay, so it has a title, which is this on line 10, then another title H2, which is a smaller heading, which is Chelsea FC, then H3 Pride of London before the image comes below. Then we have Club Legends and the unordered list with the list below right here. Okay, so now we are going to style this. So first of all, I've already used the inline styling to specify the size of my logo here. So you could check on line 13 here. So you could see there is width and height. Okay, so I would like to change this to maybe 200 pixels by 200 pixels. So now if I refresh this, our logo is smaller. Cool. So now we can start styling. So first off, let's look at internal styling. So for the internal styling, you bring the style tag inside the head tag right here. So let's come down and bring the style tag here. So style, opening tag and the closing tag. Then we select what to style. So now I want to style the body tag, so I'll type the body like this, then bring our curly braces, then bring a space to start typing our properties. So for this page I want to give it a background color. Okay, so let's give it a background color. So let's see, since it's a Chelsea website, I want it to be blue. And let's see how this will look. The aqua, I don't think it's the neatest of colors, so let me change it to the palette. Okay, so I'll go with something like this. So in case you're wondering what these numbers and the RGB is, so these numbers are a way to specify a color. So the RGB stands for red, green and blue. So the numbers are also ratios of the amount of red, which is the first numbers, green the second, and the blue. So once you mix these ratios together, you get this blue color. Okay, so now we have a background color. So what else do we need? I want to add a border around this. So how do you do that? So I could just type border. So one advantage of the VS Code is that once you start typing your styles, it gives you all the values. It guesses what you are trying to type. So for now I'm trying to type the border width, right? So my border width for my page should be 15 pixels, right? Cool. Then I have a border width, but I don't have a color for the border, so border color. So my border color, I want it to be yellow to match our beautiful logo right in the middle. Then what else do we need? Border style. So for the border style, it can be dashed, dotted, double, groove, hidden, but I want mine to be solid. So solid like that. So we save it here and refresh, and this is what we get. Nice. So now we have the body surrounded by this yellow color or yellow border. That's looking cool. But what if I want this to stretch the entire width or the entire height of the web page? So to do that, I could specify the height of the body to be 100 view height, right? So the 100 view height, it divides the entire page into 100 equal lengths, right? So if I specify 10, it's going to divide 10 and just take the first 10, so 10% of the entire page. So it's going to be short if I do that. And if I make it 50, it's going to take half of it. Now if I make it 100, it's going to take the entire height, so 100. Now it has taken the entire height of the page, right? Now there is something I want to correct. There is a space between the body and the actual web page, and I want to remove that. So we could reset some styles. So to do that, I'll bring the asterisk Then with this, I could type padding of 0 and margin also 0. I refresh, and now it resets the padding and the margin, right? So what's all this about? So the browser at default sets every element to a particular padding and margin. So it gives a particular padding to different elements and it gives particular margin to different elements. So what this does is that sometimes when you want a particular style for your elements, the default style for the page or for the element interacts, or it obstructs what you want to do with your code, your HTML or your CSS code. So to reset, you simply have to set the padding and the margin to 0. And there are other things you could do for this, but for the basic, you could just do this. And there are other things like box sizing, border box, which I could also set. And now we have our complete reset done, and now we could go back to our coding. So for the box sizing border box, what this does is that, you remember when we learned about every element being a box? So for the box, you can give it a height and a width. So if I set the height and the width of a box to, let's say, 100 pixel by 100 pixel, for the box sizing of border box, it doesn't take into consideration the padding and the border width, right? So let's go back to our styling. Okay, so now let's continue with the styling of the heading, the My Football Club heading. Okay, so for this, I would like to begin by typing the style, because it's going to be an inline styling. So since it's a text, I could just type text align like this and set it to center. So what this does is it brings the text to the middle nicely. So since it's a heading, it's nice to make it to be in the middle. Okay, so I think it's too close to the border at the top, so I like to bring it down. So I could either use a margin for that, or I could use a padding. So for this case, let me use a margin. So I'm going to specify a margin for this. So margin. So the margin is going to be 20 pixels. Right? Something simple. Okay, so it has given a margin 20 pixels, and I also give it a background color. So before that, I'll specify the color of the text, and I'll make it white. Then the background color, I'll make it a lighter blue. So let's see aqua, what we get for it. Well, I'm still not liking the aqua, so let's change this. To something like I think this should be fine. Okay, it's not too visible. A little more lighter. I think that's fine. So now we have our background for the heading. Okay, so what else do we need? I would want to place a padding around our title. So let's do that. So padding. So the padding will also be 20 pixels, just like the margin. It can be any value, but for this I think 20 pixels will look nice. Okay, so now we have our title. So we are done with it. So now let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be the Chelsea FC heading. So this one. So for this, we are going to create an external CSS file. So go into your file, create a new file. Sorry, go into your folder and create a new file. So I'll name this styles, right? But it's .text, so I have to make this .css, right? Before it's turned into a CSS file. Then I press enter. Yes. Okay, so now we have our CSS file. And we could also open this inside our VS Code, so like that. And now it's open inside our VS Code right beside our HTML file. Cool. But we've still not linked it yet, so let's try and link it. So VS Code will make our linking very easy. So I'll just have to type link. Now click on it like this. Then it guesses for me what I need to type. Style sheet. Then the actual href. So in the href you need to type where the file is located. So for mine, the file is inside the .style.css, right? So we save and let's start adding our styles, right? So you could bring back our HTML page, then check if our style is working. So we go back to our HTML page and give the Chelsea heading a class. So this is going to be a class of Chelsea title. Chelsea dash title, right? So we copy this and save. Go back to our CSS. Then because it's a class, we are trying to select a class, so we bring a dot, then we paste whatever we copied, then we try and change the color and see whether our external CSS is working. So let's just make it red for this. Now let's refresh. Okay, so it's not working. So let's see what's wrong. Okay, I think I made a mistake with the naming. It's supposed to be styles, not style. So I think now it should work. So you should make this red. So it's working. Our external style sheet is working. Fine. So let's now style our title. So with this, I want it to be in the middle. So I'll give it a text align of center. Right. And I'm going to give it a color of yellow. Then I'm going to make it a bit bolder, so font weight going to be 800. So this can be a value from 100 to 800. No pixels or anything, just a number. So 100 to 800. Or you can also make it bold or even bolder. So let's see what we get. So I'll change the font weight to 800 and let me see. Okay, it still remains the same, but I think it's fine. Or you could increase the font size as well. Font size 30 pixels. So I've made it bigger. I want it much bigger, so I'll make it 40. Now let's see. Okay, so now the text is much bigger. So also for the Pride of London, I'm going to give it a class. Of Chelsea subtitle, because it's under the main title, so I'll just name it subtitle. Then with this, I'll also align it to the center, right? So the problem with the refreshing all the time could be solved by getting a live server. So to do that, I think you could just go to our extensions tab here and just type live server. And you could just install it. So it's installing. So if you want your changes to reflect as your code, then you could just install this live server, right? So since it's installed, let's go back to doing our work. To remove this right here, you could just press Ctrl B and we just continue with our work, right? So I think the title is very close to the subtitle, so I can push it down a bit from the title. So I'll give it a margin bottom, right, of about 10 pixels. Nice. Then I'm actually going to underline this. So for that, you could just use text decoration. Okay, I think our live server is completely downloaded, so I'll just use underline here. So yeah, our title is underlined. Then Pride of London. What color should I make this? Maybe a light blue. That's close to white, right? A bit whiter. Yeah, I think it looks nice. So I could also bring a margin. The margin button to push down the logo a bit away, right? So now we push the logo a bit down So now for the logo, we want to bring the logo in the middle. So how do we do that? So we could select our logo by just typing the img. We have just one image, so we could just select it like this using the element selector. Then also with the margin. So with the margin, I could just show you a trick. So there's a shortcut for the margin. You could specify 4 values. So for example, if I specify 10, it's going to apply the margin on top, on the left, on the right, and on the down. But if I bring another value here, the first one is going to signify the top and down, and the second one is going to signify left and right. So that's for 2. So what if we make it 3? So we could just change it to 60 40 here. So once the margin is 3, it's going to mean that the top, so this is going to take it clockwise. So the top is going to be 10, and since there's only one in the middle is going to be for the left and right. So the left and right is going to be 40 each. Then the one below, the margin below, is going to be 60. So if you bring the fourth value, for example 90 pixels, this is going to mean top 10, right 40, bottom 60, and the left is going to be 90, right? So this just goes clockwise. So yeah, so with this trick, I'm going to use a margin of 0 pixels on top, and I can also use auto. So auto is going to give it equal spacing on the left and on the right. So that's what auto does. And the first one is for the top and down, which is 0 pixels. But for the 0 pixels, we can also write just 0, which will mean the same thing. So if I save this and refresh, wow, it's not giving us what we want by placing it in the middle. And why is that? Let me see. So display block. Okay. So the auto works on block, and the image is an inline element, so it wasn't working when I used the margin auto for it. So just keep that in mind. The display property for the image is inline. The margin auto doesn't work on the margin auto for the left and right doesn't work on the image unless you change the display type to block. So in case you get stuck somewhere and you need that, please use it. Okay, so we are done with the image, so we are left to the club legends. So I think my server is downloaded, and down here it says go live. So you can go to our HTML page and press on go live, and it says open folder or workspace file. Well. Okay, so let me see how this works. I don't seem to understand how this works, but okay, I think I do understand now. So in order to use the live server, I need to go to the HTML page or the HTML file inside my web page. Right click, then somehow select open with live server here. Let's see if it's something that I can find it. Nope. Can't seem to find the live server. Well, I guess we just continue like that. I'll figure this one out later. So let's just continue before we waste too much time. Okay. So over here it says stop live server. So it means the live server should be working. Or let me check and see. Let me increase this to 50 and see. It doesn't seem to be working. But it's okay, it's fine. If you just stop the live server. Alright, so let's change this back to 15 and continue. So now we are on our Club Legends title or heading. So for this, I'm going to type class name of Club Legend and title, and I'm going to copy this and use it in our external style. So dot, bring our curly brace and start typing our we type our title or our styles. So for this, I forgot to give a margin bottom over here to push our title down. So for this, you can just I'll just give a margin bottom of 20 pixels again. So to push this down, right? So we want to give this a background color of white. So let's see, refresh. Okay. Then the color of the text should be blue, right? Nice. So now we have blue text on white background. Then, since this is an H3 element, it's a block element. So to change that, we bring the display or instead of doing that, I'll just specify the width, right? The width of this should be 200 pixels. Let's see what we get. Nice. Then also we like to center it. The text should be centered. Nice. So now we can apply the margin. Top and down should be 0 and the left and right should be auto. So this should center this. Nice. and we are not done. I think I'd like to add a bit more width, about 100 more. So this should extend a bit. Nice. Then I would like to give it a bit more padding. So padding should be 40 pixels. Alright. Oh, that's too much. Should be less. A bit more less. So maybe 10. Nice. So we could also round the corners because the corners are a bit too sharp for this. So to round the corners, you could do border radius, and you could set this to 5 pixels. So the higher you make it, the rounder it gets. So if I set this to maybe 50 pixels, it's going to become rounder. But I don't want it to be 50, so I'll just set it to just 5 pixels to make it a bit round like this. Okay. Now I also like to copy this and do this to the one on top as well to make it consistent. Alright. Okay, I think we need to go on the HTML because it's an inline style. So we are going to do it over here. So we've copied it and we are going to paste it anywhere inside. Careful when you are pasting. So now this should work. Nice. So what else? We have our legends, right? So our legends, you could select them by doing this. Legend title, sorry, I'll bring the ULLI, right? Okay. So in my selector video, I showed you how this works and what it means. So if you don't still understand this, then you could check out the selector videos. So I'll just link it on the top for you to click and go back and check. So if you already know, then you can just continue. So for this, the list is what we have over here. So for the list, it places a dot in front of the list if it's an ordered list, and there's an unordered list, so it places dots in front of the name of the legends. So to remove that, you could do list style none. So we don't want any of the dots, so it clears it. Then what else? Then just like the heading, we are going to give this a width as well of 300, and also margin auto and text align center. No, we didn't center the text, but the margin should be auto. So let's see. I'll paste this here. Let me go down a bit. Nice. So this is what we have so far, but we are not done. We are also going to give these ones padding of top and down should be 5 pixels. Then left and right should be 0. So let's see. Wow, it spaces them all out. but I still want to push them down a bit. So let me go on the Club Legend title, and I'll go to, we didn't set the margin top over here, so it's 0, but we can cascade it over. So margin top, sorry, bottom should be 20 pixels, and it's going to push it down, right? Cool. So you're not done with the list. You could give it a font size of about 15 pixels or 20 pixels, right? Okay, maybe I should give it a padding of 2 pixels. So just like the margin, this also works the same. So top and down of the padding should be 5, left and right should be 2. So yeah, so you just give it a space. Then I would like to copy the border radius, make it 5. Okay, and the text color should be white. Right, so let's see what we have so far. Nice. We are going to give it a light blue background. This is a bit too deep, so let's make it lighter. Right, okay, so we have it there, a bit deeper. Nice. We are going to give it margin bottom of about 2 pixels or 4 pixels. Nice. I think there should be a bit more padding, so I'll make the padding about 10 pixels. Nice, we are spacing nicely. Okay, so our site is looking nice. We've done a lot. There's one thing I want to do. I want to be able to do this, then hover. So once we are hovering over these guys, something should happen. So on this, I could specify the cursor to be a pointer. So what this does is, if I place my cursor here, it's going to turn into a pointer like this. I don't know if you can see it, but it's going to be a hand, right? Then once you are hovering over, you want to change the background color to white, but I'm going to write it this way: FFF. This is a hex code for white, and we are going to make it a bit see-through by specifying a value after it. So like that. So let's see what we get. Nice. So this selecting immediately after I place it on. So to change this, okay, let me also change the color of the text when I hover, so it should be blue like that. Nice. So now let's see what we get. Okay, I think that's fine. I'll make it a bit deeper. deeper blue. Okay, cool, fine. So to bring a bit delay when you are hovering over, we could just bring transition. For this, let's do it all. Then 0.4 s. So the s is for seconds. So what this means is that it will take 0.4 seconds for it to transition from these styles to these styles, right? So when you're hovering, it should take 0.4 seconds to apply these styles. That's why when you're hovering over, it changes slowly. So the more I increase this seconds, the longer it takes for the styles to apply. So now our site is looking very nice. Very nice. Okay, so let me see if there are more things I would like to do. Okay, so for now, I think we leave it at here. We do more once we start continuing, but I think this site is looking nice. If you followed along, then you should have a blue website like this with the Chelsea logo and everything like this. You could have used a different theme or an animal, your pet, or anything else, but I hope you guys followed along and did something similar, right? So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.